How's it going, guys? It's Harvey from Mother Swan Drop 1000. Today is October 16th, 2019, as we will be looking at two disturbances and also the potential nor'easter that's going to impact the East Coast later today into tonight. So we're first gonna look at Tropical Depression 15. This is at 35 millibars. It's 35 miles per hour, and it's at a central pressure of 1,009 millibars, and it is moving west-northwest at 10 miles per hour, but this doesn't seem to have much of a future as it's expected to die out in the middle of the Atlantic. But it's good to point out that this type of disturbance this far east in the Atlantic during the month of October is quite rare. So this storm is going to be in the record books, but it's not going to be doing it for infamous a devastating reason, which is good news, as it's only gonna bring enhanced rain showers to Cape Verde Islands, and that's about it. But next we're gonna look at this disturbance, which currently has a moderate chance of developing, 40% chance, as the National Weather Service has determined that as it goes over the Gulf, it does have a shot at developing into a tropical depression or tropical storm, because the water temperatures in this area are a lot warmer than average for this time of the year, and also the wind. While the wind shear is currently strong over this area, the National Weather Service does see a chance that that wind shear might die down, which may be enough to the point where we could see development with this disturbance. So I'm going to show you the current sea surface temperature anomaly, and you can see the Gulf of Mexico well above average for this time of the year in terms of sea surface temperatures. So that will definitely enhance the chance of development over the Gulf of Mexico. And but looking at the wind shear map currently, you could see that there's just strong wind shear completely swallowing up most of North America and even throughout the Caribbean. However, you could see just to the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico, you see that the wind shear isn't necessarily very strong. It's considered moderate to light, right around where the disturbance is, and that could give the disturbance a little bit of light to develop. However, in terms of a long-term forecast, the good news is that I don't expect this storm to really develop much in the long term, because as it continues its trek on northward, it's going to encounter just very strong wind shear that I don't think will go away within the next 5 days. So as a result of that, I don't expect this to become a hurricane past these 5 days. However, keep in mind, we're still uncertain about this, but based off of what I've been seeing and based off of what the computer models have been seeing, I'm not very confident that this will develop much, but it's something to keep in mind because it could bring enhanced rain showers to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm talking about the Florida Panhandle, I'm talking about Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Those Gulf states could experience impacts when it comes to rainfall. So this, as of right now, you can see that there's a dip in the jet stream right here. There's strong wind shear throughout this area, and there's going to be a big nor'easter forming as a result of this extratropical cyclone mixing in with Gulf Coast surface low, and as it continues its trek on northward, a nor'easter should form. So that should definitely increase the wind shear in this area and those upper level winds as a result of the strong pressure gradients between the high pressure and the low pressure that's going to dominate the United States. So but moving forward, you could see that the nor'easter forms, which is going to be quite strong, by the way, going to go down to 974 millibars is what the GFS is saying. But as we continue to move forward, you can see there's the disturbance. It's going to be, the GFS is putting it so weak to a point where it isn't really much of anything. And same goes for the European model. At this point, you could see that the European model is in agreement with the GFS that this won't really develop into much, maybe a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm, but thanks to this wind shear, I don't expect it to develop any further than a tropical storm. And that's what most of the computer models have been agreeing towards that. While the European is taking more of a western track, more towards Louisiana and potentially impacting Texas. The GFS though is taking more of a westward track where the Gulf states like Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida may get impacted by enhanced rain showers and potentially heavy rain in those areas. So moving forward, you could see that the GFS does form a low pressure system just before it makes landfall in Florida, but it's still at 1,008 millibars, still a very weak storm. Whatever it's going to be, a tropical storm, tropical depression, it's still going to be very weak. So with this, I don't expect any more than enhanced rain showers, whether this develops or not. So I would say for the Gulf states, just keep an eye on this, because you don't want to underestimate these tropical depressions just because they're not a hurricane. Because Imelda proved earlier this year, Tropical Storm Imelda was considered very weak, developed only into a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm, but dumped a huge amount of rainfall towards the eastern Texas and western Louisiana area, to the point where it became a billion-dollar disaster, just a 40-mile-per-hour tropical depression. So I'm not saying this will be an Imelda, because I do expect this will move a lot faster than Imelda, but I'm saying don't underestimate these tropical depressions or these areas of low pressure just because they aren't hurricanes. But moving on to the next topic, we do have to keep track of a nor'easter that's expected to form over the northeast coast, which could bring heavy rainfall, strong winds, and potentially coastal flooding in some areas. However, I think the good news is with this nor'easter is that it's going to be at an angle to where the mid-Atlantic states, like where I am in New Jersey, Long Island, and a lot of New England won't experience the worst waves possible. And the reason I say that is because the winds are going to be blowing from either the southwest to directly from the west for most of this nor'easter in some areas. So I'm moving forward. So this is where the center of circulation of the low pressure is extratropical low. And if we were to see where the counterclockwise flow goes, you can see that the mid-Atlantic and a lot of the northeast mostly get a southwest to westerly winds. So that should push a lot of the water offshore instead of inshore, to where the waves may become a problem for the coastal regions. But that's definitely good news that the winds will mainly come from the southwest to west for most of this. But then you can see a stronger low pressure system develops as it encounters cooler air that this extratropical cyclone brings down to the northeast region. And this might get a little bit more worrying for New England, because it may bring a little bit of a south to southeast projectile of the winds towards the New England coast, which may mean that coastal flooding may be possible for a short period of time for southern New England, Rhode Island, and even Long Island, and maybe even parts of eastern New England. But moving forward with this, you can see that the low pressure kind of does move inland and doesn't bring directly easterly winds towards the New England coast, which is good news. And for a lot of the mid-Atlantic, like Connecticut, Long Island, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, you could see that the westerly flow is going to push a lot of those waves off the coast, which is good news that we won't experience the worst of the storm surge in those areas, and probably not coastal flooding as a result. However, this nor'easter is still strong. The winds are going to be strong. I would expect isolated power outages in some regions, because in Newark, New Jersey, where I'm located, the winds are going to be sustained at 26 miles per hour with gusts potentially up to 50. So isolated power outages are not out of the question for this. And then the millbar pressure is going to be quite low, 974. That's To put that in perspective, that's equivalent to like a category 2 to category 3 hurricane. So I'm not saying it's going to bring category 3, category 2 type impacts, because this storm will move relatively quick, and also the wind field is larger than what would be in a category 3. So we won't experience obviously category 3 type winds, but we will experience a large wind field and a long duration event of winds over New England. So that may bring power outages. Make sure to bring those things that could blow easily indoors, so because those could be flying projectiles that could hit your home, and make sure to take caution with that. And as for the rainfall, I'm gonna show you the map. I need to go, oh yeah, wait, yeah, I need to go weather.com to show you guys. So yeah, but the rain for most of the Northeast is 2 to 3 to 1 to 2 inches. So for my area, that may be good news, because we've been in a little bit of a drought in New Jersey, and I'm sure for a lot of areas in the Northeast as well, since it's been an awfully dry September and even August. So it might be good news that we might get some much needed rainwater, but on the other hand, that may not be very good news, because it could bring flash flooding, because the rain is expected to fall down in a very short period of time, as flash flood watch is in effect for multiple areas along the northeast coast. So moving to the current rainfall map, and you can see 2-3 inches for a lot of interior New York and a lot of New England, as most places are in 1 to 2 inches, like Baltimore, New York City, Boston. But you can see the rainfall will be heavy, and oh, let me turn this volume. All right, so yeah, the rainfall will be quite heavy. That's something to keep in mind. And yeah, the winds will be strong as well. Winds over 50-60 miles per hour are possible, especially along the coast. And I'm gonna show you the rest of the warnings that are in effect. You can see that there are multiple storm warnings off the coast. So if you're off the coast, stay. I don't recommend going in the ocean Wednesday, Thursday. The winds are going to be too strong. The waves might be huge. Although they're going to be blowing off the coast, that doesn't mean that the ocean will be safe, because those waves in the ocean will be strong. But the good news is that the westerly winds will push a lot of those waves offshore instead of inshore, where it could be a problem with coastal flooding. So that's good news. But yeah, keep in mind for this nor'easter in the northeast coast. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll make sure to make a video, maybe live, because the winds are going to be strong, and I'm gonna get hit pretty hard by this nor'easter. And make sure to subscribe if you like it, if you like it, and I hope you enjoy your day, and thank you for watching.